Greetings and blessings, family. It's your girl Jetty from Word Revolution. The Most High has commanded me to give a third warning here in this series. And so here it is. The Most High has indeed sharpened his sword against these wicked nations and against our own wickedness. When you consider wicked nations, be mindful of how you associate with them. Oftentimes we think that we're separate in ways that we're not separate. And we don't consider how we have tied and attached ourselves to these nations. And we have trust in them, and we have trust in the systems in a way, whereas, for instance, perhaps you are a person who has a degree, maybe you've got a doctorate in something, and you worked really hard for it because, you don't get a doctorate unless you work really hard for it. And so you've worked really hard for it, and you worked really hard to make sure that degree puts you in a position where you are, you have a good living. So you're doing whatever that thing is that you have that degree in. And you have a lot of trust in that. You have a nice home, you have a nice car, you live in a nice neighborhood, and you have a sense of security in that, right? You look at populations of people who haven't accomplished that, haven't achieved that, and this is especially important for people who come from quote-unquote low states in life, and then who are able to rise up through the ranks of these systems, right? Your mother was whatever. Maybe your mother was a crackhead, and you're the first person in your family to graduate from college, and much less hold a doctorate. You're the first person to own a home. You are the first this and the first that, and you worked hard for it. And so you look around and you say, the problem is that people don't want it. I wanted it. I worked hard. I got it. There's no excuse, right? I came from we grew up in the same neighborhood, so yeah. Well, you went to prison. I went to college, right? When you was out there hustling, I was hitting the books, and so you're out there at the bar, I'm at Bible study, right? And so you have these ideas of who that makes you, and who that makes other people. Like you see kind of a hierarchy. You put value on net worth, right? You have health or life insurance, and you have an inheritance and things, right? You've got like investments, and you own land, and you imagine that has changed your station in life. And the degree, and the degree to which you imagine that has indeed changed your station in life, those things are the degree to which you are married and tied to these wicked nations and wicked systems. We have to start to understand that those things mean absolutely nothing to the Most High God. The Most High is not The Most High is not a capitalist. The Most High is not a democratic leader. The Most High is not the Most High does not ascribe to the same set of criteria that these nations do. And so when you look at yourself and you say, I'm a good person, I've done all the right things, I've, pulled myself up by my own bootstraps, nobody got nothing I got but me, and you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful. The sword I don't know what you guys are getting. I don't know what kind of dreams you're having. I don't know what kind of things are coming to you in your meditations, in your prayers. But if you're not shaking in your boots right now and crying out to the Most High for the condition of the nations and the people and the world, for the condition of your own soul, if you're not seeking daily, Lord, show me my own iniquity. If you have any trust in those things to protect you, to save you, bless you, to separate you from what is coming, you are in a very dangerous and precarious place. The Most High is not playing. These things have already begun. You see tidbits on the news, but I am telling you, for every story you see of an earthquake, there are hundreds that you don't hear about. For every strange occurrence where someone does something, pardon me, like, on the weird drugs and like eating their friend and thing, for every one story you see, there are thousands that are happening. You guys have got to cry out to the Most High. You've got to realize and recognize this is not a time it's not a time for celebrations and what is coming. Only one thing can save you, and that is the compassion of the Most High. That you be found worthy in His eyes to save. Worthiness in the Most High's eyes is quite contrary to that of the world. If you have all of these things that the world approves of, that says that you did it, good job, chances are the Most High will reject you, because all the energy that you put into building and maintaining those things that make you worthy in the eyes of the world, if that energy were put into becoming worthy in the eyes of the Most High God, consider the difference in the state of your soul. And also consider the difference in your status in the world. I'm not speaking against education and knowledge. I'm not speaking against luxury. I'm not speaking against those things. You know, the Most High gives a look at Solomon and those guys. Like, these cats were like living good, right? But what was the priority? And whoever's watching, thank you for joining as I beat this dead horse. What was the priority? The Most High increases us according to our seeking after Him. That is how the Most High increases us, according to our seeking after Him. If you have attained increase by any other means, you have put yourself in a very precarious place in this time. Because only those whose souls cry out will be saved. I'm talking souls cry out. I'm not talking faithful attendance at church. I'm not talking, I'm not talking feeding the homeless and putting it on Facebook. I'm not talking, Jesus. The sword of the Most High is sharpened. The angels stand at the ready for the command. It has already begun. These things will not save you. Your ranks in that corporation will not save you. Your doctorates and degrees will not save you. Your associations with people in quote-unquote high places will not save you. It will not save you. It is a time for a crying out to the Most High God, that He will show you what is required. You're going to have to pack light. You're going to have to shed a lot of stuff that you've put a lot of weight and confidence and pride and work. You're going to have to shed a lot of that stuff. And be in a little corner somewhere, eating your little bread and drinking your little water and crying out to the Most High God. This is the third morning that I was awakened and given the word to call out the warning. And I'll tell you another thing. Now, typically, I get these warnings, excuse my sniffles. I get these warnings and I intercede and I pray. The Most High says, don't even pray for them anymore. You call out this warning, don't even pray for them. Don't even do it. You're on your own now. You're on your own, excuse me. The Most High is not playing. Y'all better quit. Y'all better quit playing. Y'all better quit playing. All that energy that's used on things that mean absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. If you like driving a Mercedes-Benz, The Most High doesn't condemn you for wanting to drive a Mercedes Benz. But who will you look to for it? And is that a desire that the Most High gave you, or is it a desire that the world gave you that makes you think that if you drive a Mercedes Benz, you've arrived at some place? Now, perhaps it's a desire that the Most High gave you, and He wants you to have a Benz. That's beautiful. Then the Most High will tell you how to get it. And 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be any series of ways that the world would tell you to get it. It's going to be different. Because the world will tell you to get it in a way that you'll be able to say, I did this for me. I got this myself. I worked for this. I. You'll have all of these I did. And the Most High is not going to do it that way. That's not how. When the Most High gives you a Benz, you'll be like, listen, I can't tell you. People, how did you get to where you are? The Most High did it. I didn't do nothing. I was sitting around crying and praying and minding my quiet little business, feeding the homeless, and here come the Benz. And I never even told nobody I wanted a Benz. And here I'm feeding the homeless. And one of them ladies died. And here I didn't know all this time she was a wealthy lady. And she used to talk to her sister about how was so good to the homeless. And when she died, her sister came and showed up and pulled up at that little soup kitchen and said, I want you to have this Benz. This was my sister's Benz. And she always talked about how kind you were. These are the kinds of ways that the Most High blesses us with the things our heart's desires. He gives us our heart's desires. Again, I'm not speaking against diligence. I'm not speaking against knowledge and education. But when you imagine that these are the things that qualify you, when you imagine that these are the things that set you apart and above others, you are married to the world. And I don't care what you profess, you will not be saved in the day of calamity. You will not. We must separate the clean from the unclean. And again, I'll remind, yes, there was a Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, which I don't know what their proper historical names were, but we all know the story. There was a Daniel. So sometimes you are in the midst of it. And sometimes you are, they worked for the government, basically. But did they? Did they really? When the government said, you must take this vaccination that contains human content, and the government says to do this thing, and the Most High, it's something that the Most High forbids. Who do you work for in that moment? Do you say that the Most High knows my heart, and I'm going to go ahead and take this thing? I'm going to go ahead and take this vaccination because the Most High knows my heart, and He knows I have this mortgage to pay. And so therefore, I'm just going to take this shot and know that the Most High is going to cover me because He knows my heart? Or do you say, I cannot break league with the Most High for this mortgage? And do you refuse the shot and let the chips fall where they may? And it may be that the Most High will send someone from the company to promote you and say, wow, that's really deep that you have that level of integrity and commitment, and your job here is exceptional. And so therefore, we're going to make an exception for you. The Most High may do that and promote you for your obedience. Or the Most High may say, very good. Now this is when I release you from this assignment. And you may get fired. And you may end up, who knows, in any set of absolutely unpredictable circumstances as a result. But you have to understand, in this season, what will and what will not protect you. and what does not make you worthy. The fact is, none of us are truly worthy of the grace of the Most High God. Only in as much as we are the Most High God are we ever found worthy. And so it is grace that makes the difference. And it is humility that buys that grace. It's humility. It's not prideful haughtiness and the assumption that we are worthy of the promise of salvation, of safety, of security. That fire is falling, ladies and gentlemen. You better know undeniably what team you're on. And it needs to be something that directs your steps. If your steps are directed by any of these things of the world, you are in danger. And you are in more and more danger than you were yesterday. Because yesterday, people like me could pray for you. Today, we cannot. Today, we cannot. So that's all I got for you today. May the Most High lead, protect, guide. Steady from Word Revolution. Whoever that one person is who's watching, thank you for watching, and spread this word. It may save someone. Bless up, family.